Life rarely gets harder all at once. It gets harder the way a small signal gets ignored, the tiredness you push through, the meal you rush, the evening you never quite come down from, until everything simply takes more effort than it used to. These 7 habits work the other way round. Each one acts while the signal is still quiet, before depletion rather than after it. And the first is one you could use this afternoon. Here's the reframe underneath all of them, and it runs against almost every instinct we've been trained into. Rest before you're tired. Not after. Not once you've earned it. Not when you finally collapse into the weekend. Before. We treat rest as a reward for depletion. Chinese wellness treats it as maintenance. One note before we start. These are everyday comfort habits, not treatment. New, persistent, or worrying symptoms deserve medical advice. So, this afternoon, in the middle of it rather than at the end. Stop for 5 minutes while you still feel fine. Sit down, don't scroll, don't check anything, don't tick something small off the list. Just stop, somewhere in the middle of the day, while you still have something left. 5 minutes. That's the entire practice. And I know the objection, because it's the one I'd have. I don't have 5 minutes, and I'm not even tired yet. That second part is precisely the point. Resting once you're already flattened is damage control, and it often takes considerably longer. A short pause taken while you're still functioning may leave you with more patience and attention for the last part of the day. The first few times it will feel unearned. Do it anyway, and notice how your final 2 hours compare with yesterday's. And that difference has a name. In the West, we're superb at repair. Something breaks, we fix it, and we've become very good at it. Sheng, the Chinese idea of nourishing life, works from the other end. Small, ordinary things done early, so that less breaks at all. That's the whole logic of what follows, and I won't keep restating it. The second habit belongs to the half hour after you eat. You've finished lunch. The plate is still in front of you, and the chair is already pulling you back down into it. Instead, take a few gentle minutes on your feet. This isn't exercise, it's comfortable movement, the sort you could hold a conversation through. There's an old Chinese saying about walking 100 steps after eating. Gentle movement after a meal has been associated with steadier blood sugar afterwards, and many people simply find it more comfortable than sitting straight down. A few minutes around the garden, a slow lap of the office, walking out to post something. It's small enough to survive a busy week, which is precisely why it tends to last. And there's a cost to the repair model that mostly goes unnoticed. It isn't only that you get more tired. It's that you slowly stop noticing the small signals at all. The first hint of hunger, the first stiffness, the first flicker of irritation, because you've trained yourself to respond only when things get loud. The habits that follow are about hearing the quiet signals again. The third habit changes how you finish a meal, and it comes down to a quiet conflict between 2 things: what's left on the plate and whether you're still hungry. Most of us were raised to answer the plate. Finish it, don't waste it, stop when it's gone, rather than when you've had enough. The decision gets outsourced to the serving size, and the serving size has no idea how hungry you are. Someone else decided it, in a kitchen, for an average person who wasn't you. There's a traditional Chinese guideline here: Qi Fen Bao, eating to about 7 parts full, comfortably satisfied with a little room left over. The practice is a pause rather than a rule. Partway through the meal, put your fork down for a moment and check in. Are you still genuinely hungry? If you are, keep eating. That matters. And this is not about eating less. If you're comfortably satisfied, you can stop there rather than finishing on autopilot. For some people, fullness registers a little later than expected, so stopping slightly short can simply mean stopping on time. One caution, briefly: if you have any history of disordered eating, skip this one. There's nothing in it you can't get from the other 6. Habit 4 happens before you're properly awake. Picture the first 2 minutes of your morning. You're barely conscious. The kettle goes on, or the machine, and the coffee is in your hand before a single decision has been made. That isn't a failing. It's just a day that has started without you in it. So put one deliberate thing in front of the reflex: a cup of water, warm or room temperature, whichever you'll actually drink. Take a minute over it. Then have your coffee exactly as you would have. I'm not asking you to give anything up, and I'm not going to pretend a glass of water changes your life. Warm water is the ordinary default in a great many Chinese households, poured automatically in restaurants, offered as a matter of course to a guest. Nothing mystical about it. It's simply what's to hand. It also survives the mornings that go wrong, which is the real test. The alarm doesn't go off, the day starts behind, and every elaborate routine you'd planned goes straight out the window, but a glass of water still takes 60 seconds. That's the difference between a habit and an intention. What this habit gives you is modest and real, and worth naming precisely. Basic hydration, after 7 or 8 hours without a drink. One deliberate act at the start of a day that is otherwise entirely automatic, and a cue simple enough to survive a rushed morning, which is more than most morning routines manage, because it asks for a minute rather than a rearrangement. Habit 5 belongs to the final hour of the day: a basin of comfortably warm water, a chair, and 10 or 15 minutes with your feet in it while the day finishes around you. It's a long-standing Chinese evening practice: Pao Jiao. The plain explanation is a single sentence. Warming the feet helps heat move outward from the core, and a gently falling core temperature is one of the ordinary signals the body uses to move towards sleep. If a basin is more trouble than it's worth, a warm shower or a pair of warm socks will do the same job. One real caution, and please take it seriously: if you have diabetes, reduced sensation in your feet, or circulation problems, test the water with your hand or elbow first and keep it comfortably warm rather than hot. Reduced sensation makes it genuinely easy to scald yourself without noticing. If you're at all unsure, ask your doctor before starting. Many people find it works as a marker rather than a treatment. Most evening advice asks you to stop doing things, which is a hard instruction to follow. This one asks you to do something small and slow instead, and the stopping tends to follow. Habit 6 is about when you do things, rather than what you do. Here's the version most of us are running. The clearest hour of the morning goes on email, small admin, tidying the inbox, all of it feeling like progress. Then, at 4 in the afternoon, with your attention thinned right out, you finally sit down to the one thing that actually needed thinking about. You read the same paragraph 3 times, produce something mediocre, and conclude you're tired. Now reverse the two. The important thinking goes in the clearer hour. The email, the tidying, the routine administration go in the lower energy one, because those are the tasks that survive being done badly. Nothing about your energy has changed. You've simply stopped spending your best hour on your least demanding work, and the email still gets answered, just by a version of you that didn't need to be sharp to do it. Most people, when they try this, are surprised by how much of their day was arranged around other people's hours rather than their own. The meeting slot, the time the house goes quiet, whenever the demand happened to land. The catch is that only you know your own shape, and it varies between people far more than the usual advice admits. Some are sharpest first thing, some don't properly arrive until the afternoon. So spend a week noticing. When are you genuinely clear-headed? When do you reliably fade? Then move one thing, just one. The 7th is what makes the other 6 survive, and it's a practice in its own right. Call it the ordinary day rule. Choose one habit from the 6, only one. Then attach it to a cue that already happens in your day. Not a time on a clock, a cue. After lunch, the 5-minute pause. After dinner, the few gentle minutes on your feet. Before the coffee, the glass of water. When the evening news ends, the warm feet. The cue matters more than the intention. A time has to be remembered. A cue simply arrives, whether you were thinking about it or not. Write it down somewhere you'll see it, in exactly that form. After lunch, 5 minutes. Not rest more. The vaguer the habit, the faster it evaporates. Then run it for 1 week, including the good days, especially the good days. because the instinct is to reach for habits like these only once things have already gone wrong. You're exhausted, sleep is a mess, everything aches, so you start the routine. That's the hardest possible moment to begin anything new, and it's a large part of why these things don't stick. A habit tied to an ordinary cue on an ordinary day is far easier to maintain, and it's still standing when a harder week arrives. One habit, one cue, 7 days. Then decide whether to keep it or trade it for another. So, rest before you're tired, a few gentle minutes after eating, a pause partway through the meal, water before the coffee, warm feet in the final hour, your hardest thinking in your clearest hour, and one habit tied to one ordinary cue. Don't start all 7. Choose one, attach it to something that already happens tomorrow, and give it a week. Tell me in the comments, which part of your day becomes harder first? Your afternoon energy, your meals, your focus, or your sleep? An easier life is rarely built by one dramatic change. It's built by noticing what you need while the signal is still quiet. Next time, the Chinese habits for a mind that won't stop working long enough to rest.